The Philadelphia Eagles find themselves at a pivotal moment in their franchise history, standing at a crossroads where the choices made in the coming offseason could define the team for years to come. As the previous season winds down, discussions among fans and analysts have grown increasingly intense, focusing primarily on the direction of the team's offense and, more specifically, the offensive coordinator role. The uncertainty surrounding this position has left supporters on edge, with many wondering who will ultimately shape the Eagles' offensive identity. The franchise is navigating a delicate balance, attempting to blend continuity with innovation, and the decisions taken now will ripple through roster management, draft priorities, and free agency strategies. Central to the current conversation is the reported interest in Sean Mannion, a quarterback coach from Green Bay with nearly a decade of NFL experience as a backup quarterback and mentor. Mannion's work with Jordan Love over the past 2 seasons has placed him in the spotlight for his quarterback development skills, and on paper, he presents a low-risk option. His familiarity with professional offenses and his ability to guide young quarterbacks could be an asset for a team seeking stability. Yet, despite these strengths, significant questions remain regarding his lack of experience in play calling. The Eagles have historically demonstrated an ambition to push their offense to high levels, and fans are cautious about entrusting such responsibility to a coach without a proven track record orchestrating an entire offensive unit. Concerns linger that a hire like Mannion could mirror past situations, leaving too much burden on the head coach to managing game adjustments and limiting strategic flexibility. This caution naturally directs attention toward Matt Nagy, whose name has surfaced repeatedly as a strong candidate. Nagy's previous connection to Philadelphia and his history under head coach Andy Reid give him a level of familiarity and credibility that appeals to a franchise seeking both experience and results. During his tenure with the Chicago Bears, he led an offense that reached the top 10 in league rankings. Although subsequent seasons revealed some decline, his work with quarterbacks such as Justin Fields demonstrated his ability to adapt offensive schemes to a young, developing talent. For the Eagles, Nagy represents a balance between security and innovation, someone capable of managing the offensive system while implementing strategies that optimize the roster's core strengths. Hiring a coordinator of his caliber could provide the franchise with consistency and reduce the risk of repeating previous organizational missteps. Alongside these leading names, other potential candidates are beginning to emerge as the coaching carousel continues across the league. Davis Webb, recently associated with the Denver Broncos, has drawn attention for his creative approach to passing games and his innovative scheming. Webb's experience as a former backup quarterback and passing game coordinator allows him to understand the quarterback perspective deeply, and his willingness to take calculated risks in offensive design has been noted by analysts. Bringing in a coach like Webb could inject new energy into the Eagles' offense, offering fresh concepts and tactical flexibility. While still relatively young in coordinator experience, his vision has the potential to elevate player performance and encourage a more dynamic, adaptable offense. The process of hiring an offensive coordinator is further complicated by the lessons learned from other coaching changes in the league. Fan reactions across various teams illustrate how critical it is to differentiate between a coach's strategic capability and the talent limitations of the roster. Coaches like Tanner Estrogen, who struggled despite limited resources, serve as examples of how innovative approaches can exist even under challenging circumstances. For the Eagles, evaluating candidates involves understanding not just their track record, but also their ability to implement a coherent vision while working with the current roster. The right hire could unlock offensive potential even if some areas of the team remain underdeveloped, while the wrong choice might stifle growth regardless of player talent. Another factor influencing the Eagles' coordinator search is the role of Kevin Patullo, whose continued presence on the staff may have affected other potential hires' decisions. Reports suggest that candidates such as Brian Daboll reconsidered joining Philadelphia due to staff dynamics, highlighting the delicate balance between maintaining continuity and allowing new leadership to thrive. Coordination between staff members, autonomy in decision-making, and trust within the coaching hierarchy are crucial elements that impact not only the success of the hire but also the overall effectiveness of the team. The Eagles management must carefully navigate these relationships to ensure that any incoming coordinator has the authority and freedom to implement their system effectively. Beyond the immediate staffing implications, the search for a coordinator has wider consequences. For the team's offensive philosophy and strategic planning, decisions regarding draft selections, free agent acquisitions, and player development hinge on understanding the offensive direction that the coordinator will set. A conservative, methodical approach differs significantly from an aggressive, innovative system, and the selection of a coordinator dictates which types of players will fit seamlessly into the scheme. This uncertainty requires the Eagles to plan with flexibility, making provisional evaluations while waiting for clarity. Fans are acutely aware that the person chosen to lead the offense will influence not only short-term performance, but also the long-term trajectory of the franchise. The off-season narrative is further complicated by the personal relationships and dynamics among coaching candidates. Daboll's ultimate decision to join the Tennessee Titans instead of Philadelphia illustrates how trust, rapport, and professional alignment can outweigh purely strategic considerations. While Philadelphia could have offered a reunion with Jalen Hurts and the opportunity to work in a major market, the decision hinged on perceived autonomy and the ability to execute a personal offensive vision. Such considerations emphasize that hiring is not merely a technical process, but also one shaped by interpersonal dynamics and the professional environment within the team. Patullo's influence continues to be a recurring theme, while his contributions are recognized and valued. The presence of an established staff member can act as a limiting factor for new hires seeking full control over the offensive system. Top-tier coordinators often require the freedom to implement their own assistants and set offensive philosophies without excessive interference. The perception of potential constraints could dissuade elite candidates, making it essential for the Eagles to strike a balance between maintaining institutional knowledge and providing room for innovation. Managing these subtleties requires strategic foresight and a nuanced understanding of coaching psychology. As the search progresses, the Eagles are conducting multiple interviews and exploring a wide array of possibilities. The organization appears measured in extending offers, reflecting both caution and the high stakes involved. Every interview carries weight, as the decision will influence offensive output, player development, draft planning, and the team's competitiveness for years to come. Ensuring the right fit at the coordinator position requires evaluating both experience and potential, considering how each candidate's approach aligns with the existing roster and overall philosophy. For Philadelphia, this is not simply a staffing matter. It is a strategic investment that will define the offense's identity and effectiveness for the foreseeable future. The interplay between head coach Nick Sirianni and his staff adds another layer of complexity. Sirianni's vision for the offense, his desire to retain some control over play calling, and his working relationships with current staff members must all be weighed against the new coordinator's need for autonomy. Striking the right balance between continuity and flexibility is a delicate task, as too much control could deter innovative candidates while too little could disrupt cohesion. These dynamics illustrate that hiring a coordinator is as much about managing organizational culture and internal relationships as it is about offensive scheming and strategy. With draft and free agency plans closely tied to the coordinator hire, the Eagles must navigate this period with a combination of patience and precision. Knowing the offensive philosophy in advance allows management to target players who fit the system and optimize roster construction. Until a decision is finalized, planning remains provisional, emphasizing the interconnectedness of coaching hires, player development, and long-term team strategy. The upcoming weeks are critical, and each move will have a cascading effect on the franchise's future, demonstrating the importance of deliberate decision-making in one of the NFL's most competitive environments. As the Eagles move further into the offseason, the focus on offensive leadership continues to dominate conversations not only among analysts but also within the locker room itself. Players are acutely aware that clarity and confidence in coaching impact their preparation and performance, and uncertainty at the coordinator position can create subtle but meaningful ripple effects. Quarterbacks, wide receivers, tight ends, and linemen all benefit from a consistent philosophy and clear communication, which allows them to develop timing, trust, and understanding within complex offensive schemes. Without a firm decision, the team risks a slower integration of strategy and diminished efficiency once training camp begins. This is particularly relevant for a roster filled with talented players, capable of executing at a high level but still in need of structure to reach their full potential. The stakes surrounding this hire are intensified by the organization's recent success and the high expectations that come with it. Philadelphia is coming off seasons that have demonstrated both the promise of the roster and the areas in which it still needs refinement. Fans and executives alike understand that a misstep in staffing could undo progress, whereas a well-chosen coordinator has the potential to accelerate development and innovation. Strategic foresight is required to balance immediate performance with long-term growth, and the Eagles' decision-making will need to consider not just who can call plays effectively today, but who can cultivate a sustainable system for years to come. This balancing act underscores the importance of vision, adaptability, and leadership in the hiring process. Beyond evaluating individual candidates, the organization must also consider how any new hire will integrate with the existing staff and the head coach's philosophy. Continuity within the coaching structure has value, particularly in fostering relationships and ensuring smooth communication between position groups. However, retaining too many entrenched dynamics can inhibit innovation, limiting the incoming coordinator's ability to implement a fresh vision. The Eagles face a delicate challenge. They need to maintain institutional knowledge while simultaneously allowing room for creativity and change. Navigating these tensions requires not just insight into football strategy, but also an understanding of team culture, interpersonal dynamics, and the long-term trajectory of the franchise. Player development remains an area that is particularly sensitive to coaching decisions. Quarterbacks like Jalen Hurts rely on tailored guidance, advanced scheming, and consistent feedback to continue growing in their roles. Similarly, skill position players must learn to adjust to timing, route concepts, and alignment within the offensive scheme. A coordinator who can combine strategic acumen with the ability to nurture talent will provide a measurable impact on on-field performance. Conversely, even a highly talented roster can struggle if the coaching philosophy is unclear or inconsistent. The importance of selecting someone capable of both strategic execution and player mentorship cannot be overstated in a team with championship aspiration. The Eagles' evaluation process extends into broader considerations of league-wide trends and lessons from other franchises. Observing how coordinators have succeeded or failed elsewhere provides a framework for identifying qualities that align with Philadelphia's goals. The ability to innovate within modern offensive schemes, adapt to rapidly evolving defensive strategies, and utilize emerging talent effectively are all critical attributes. Additionally, understanding how previous coordinators handled adversity, whether in managing injuries, adjusting mid-game, or motivating players, offers insights into how candidates may respond under pressure. Philadelphia's front office is tasked with identifying not only tactical proficiency, but also leadership, problem-solving capacity, and alignment with the team's culture. FlyEaglesFly News family, smash subscribe and hit like. Your support keeps the freshest Philadelphia Eagles updates flying in. Drop your take in the comments and let's talk birds. Whispers around the league suggest that something seismic may be unfolding behind closed doors, and it all seems to start with a sudden shift in mindset from Howie Roseman. According to sources familiar with internal conversations, the Eagles' general manager has flipped the switch, opening the door to a move that until recently felt unthinkable. The name at the center of the storm is A.J. Brown, and the word circulating quietly but insistently is that a trade framework is already closed. Nothing has been announced, and officially there is silence, but the tone around the organization feels different. Executives from rival teams describe an unusual level of confidence in recent talks, as if the major hurdles have already been cleared. One league insider suggested that Roseman, known for his patience and long-term vision, may have reached a point where roster balance and future flexibility outweigh emotional attachment to a star receiver. The speculation is fueled by the idea that this is not a panic move, but a calculated pivot. Brown's value has arguably never been higher, and moving him now could return a haul of assets capable of reshaping the roster for years. Some believe Roseman sees an opportunity to reset the financial structure, create cap breathing room, and reallocate resources in ways that better fit his evolving blueprint. Inside locker room circles, there is surprise but not disbelief. Players understand the business side of the league, and many have seen how quickly circumstances can change when a front office senses leverage. Around the league, rival general managers are said to be reacting less with shock and more with acceptance, as if they were quietly preparing for this possibility. For now, it remains a rumor, but one that refuses to fade. The language being used by those closest to the situation is telling. Done, agreed. Just details. Until something becomes official, uncertainty reigns. Still, the prevailing sense is that a decisive moment has already passed, and that Howie Roseman, once again, maybe proving that no name is untouchable when the bigger picture comes into focus. That's a wrap from FlyEaglesFly News. If you want the fastest Eagles updates, subscribe, drop a like, and turn on the bell. Sound off in the comments. Let's talk birds.